Hey everyone, that's me, Untitled Viking, and this is Go Nuts for Donuts. Go Nuts for Donuts is a card game in which people are going to be claiming donuts because they're going nuts for them. And whoever does the best job at collecting the different types of donuts, both good and bad, well, I mean, donuts are good, right? But I mean, technically some of the donuts will give you some, like, negative points and things like that. But who does the best job at, like, collecting donuts and making sure that they collect the ones that are mostly good, will win the game because they'll get the best donuts and therefore will get the most points. But anyway, the game is really, really easy to teach. It's got basically one rule, and it is something you could pick up and go with totally new people. You open the box, you'd be ready to play in about a minute. So let me show you how the game is played. It shouldn't take long, and we'll come back here and I'll give you my final thoughts. Alright, cool. Go Nuts for Donuts is a game that you will be able to teach to the other people that are at the table in about 2 minutes. The only trick really is trying to figure out what the other people are going to be trying to do so you can avoid what they're trying to do. Okay, so what do I mean by that is that each person is going to get, and this is if I were playing a 6-player game here, the way you can tell how many players you have is that basically there's enough donuts out here for players plus 1. So just keep that in mind. So if you have less players, there'd be less donuts available. And this obviously is the big giant stack of donuts that we'll be going through as we play the game. So each person is going to get an identical group of these cards. 1, 2, 3. Oh, 3 is upside down. That's weird. But you get the picture. You're going to have all of the 7 numbers here, and then what you're going to do is you're going to look at these donuts here after you put these out, and each one of these has a different power, a different ability or whatever. Some of them just score points, but some of them allow you to take different actions and what have you. So like if you just have this glazed donut, you can see it's going to be worth 2 points at the end of the game. This Boston cream donut, you will score successive points more and more depending on the set. You'll notice that, however, 1 is nothing, but 2 is 5. 3 is nothing, but 4 is 10. So you can see, like, you want to make sure you get enough of them that it's going to, have the right number so you get those sets. So like here we have the old-fashioned donut. You score 5 points if you have fewer than 10 donuts at the end of the game. So, in each one of these, and there's tons of different donuts here, actually, like here all in the rules, you can see the donut guides. So there's all kinds of different donuts you have that you have access to that are going to be in that pile. And there's even like non-donut stuff, like milk. At the end of the game, you score 1 point for each donut that gives you negative points. A milk card always counts as a donut. So that would be like for these cards where if you have fewer than 10, or like this sprinkled card that says score 3 points if you have more than 6 types of donuts. But anyway, so how does the game play? Each person will survey what they have access to, and they will pick one of these cards. Starting here, you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and they're going to pick one. So if you just wanted to go over like the safe route here, and you wanted to just go for the double chocolate, you would take the number 6, and you'd put that face down in front of you like that. Everybody picks one of the donuts. You say 1, 2, 3, and you reveal, and then you begin going through the process. Now, if you start with 1, and then 2, and then 3, and so forth in succession, if you are the only person that picked the number that you picked, you then get to claim the donut. Donuts are always placed face up in front of you so everybody can see what you've collected, so they can kind of see maybe what you'd be going for later, and this is where that kind of bluffing and counter bluffing kind of comes into play. I'll talk more about that in a little bit. But if you and another person both have the same number, so let's say somebody else wanted to go for the double chocolate donut, both you and another person, or multiple people, so like let's say you're playing with 6 people and 4 of you selected 6, it just goes in the discard pile. Nobody gets the donut. Basically, you all reach for it, it crumbles to pieces, and it gets destroyed. Now, some donuts will cause you to do certain things, like they'll be able to draw cards off the discard pile, you'll be able to just draw a card off the top of the deck, stuff like that. you always satisfy the directions of the donut that you collect before you move on to the next donut. So, for example, so let's just say after all is said and done, like all of these donuts are gone. Either they're in other people's hands or what have you. So the next round begins, everybody collects their card, and then you just deal out enough donuts here. So there's another Boston cream. Here's a bear claw. Another glazed. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then, ooh, another Boston cream. So we got several Boston creams out there. So now, once again, everybody's going to pick. And you can see here, I want to actually show you the bear claw. So you can see here, it's worth -3 points. Which, might stink. But because, and then, obviously you want to, you're going to have that in your hand, and maybe if you have milk, the milk will allow you to score points if it's negative, but you still, probably don't want to have that in your hand at the end of the game. But you can, when you take this, the instructions say, when you take this card from the donut row, you take a donut card from an opponent, so you can look at the other person's tableau, and maybe you need that one more Boston cream or something to score the 15 points, and so then that's what that would help you out with, and that's how you could run that well. Also, there's cards, and maybe I can find a cinnamon twist in here somewhere, and also, obviously, if you play this game, you are going to eventually say, I would really, really like donuts. I mean, every single time that we've played this, we've all had the mentality of, we really wanted a donut after we were playing. But anyway, regardless, cinnamon twist. So here you have this donut. It's worth a point, but then all players get to pass one donut to the left. So if you had a situation where you had the bear claw with -3 points, if somebody claims a cinnamon twist card, you'd be able to then be able to move your bear claw to somebody left. But the cool thing about that is, and this is that whole bluffing, counter bluffing, let's say, since you're passing one to your left, you look over at the guy to the right, and he has a bear claw. And somebody's going to want to take that cinnamon twist to kind of get rid of that card and get them off their scoring row, right? So maybe you take this, you say you're going to take the cinnamon twist, hoping that somebody else picks the same card, and so then it just gets discarded. Because, and this is very important, if there is a special power that gets enacted by the donuts that are in this row here, that's the only time they get used. If they're cards that are drawn out of the discard or drawn off of the deck, if that is the case, the special powers and abilities don't go into effect. So there you go. The game will end once you can't refill the tableau with cards from the deck. As soon as that happens, you don't play another round. You just end it, and you score how many points each person has, depending upon the different rules they have, whether it's just straight points, or whether it's negative points, or if it's a set collection type of situation. And then, obviously, whoever has the most points did the best job at collecting donuts and therefore will win the game. The game is, like I said, really easy to teach. It's very colorful. It makes you hungry, and it's a lot of fun. And it's one of those things, too, where everybody's kind of involved, everybody's having fun, but, it isn't like an excruciatingly huge rule set or anything, so it is a very social and a very highly interactive game everybody that I played this with, whether they were hardcore gamers or really light gamers or family members, we all had a blast. But let me talk all about that and more in my final thoughts. I believe it was Homer J. Simpson who once famously said, donuts. Yes, donuts. It's hard to find somebody who just doesn't like donuts. We all know they probably aren't the most healthy food in the world, but you'd be hard pressed to find somebody who just flat out says, I don't like eat donuts. When that person at your office shows up and they got the dozen donuts in the box, they're like, would you like one? You're really like, oh, this one looks good. Oh, the little twist over here, So, I like the theme of the game, obviously, because, like I said, you'd be very, very, very difficult to find somebody that would be put off by it, if you will. One of the people that I play with, and I actually thought of this myself too, kind of liken the game a little bit to Sushi Go. a very popular game that is about food and cards and what have you, but that's a drafting game, whereas this is a like card selection game. So I mean, yes, you know, they kind of have the same background, the same feel, if you will, but mechanism wise, they are radically different. I mean, I get like the scoring and things like that, where you collect different sets and what have you, and how the different types of donuts or food or whatever like do different things. But I mean, this one has a lot more, in my opinion, going on, because of the fact that, you know, it isn't drafting, you know, so because drafting is just like you're just handing the cards around. I mean, this has that whole bluff counter bluff thing that I really, really enjoy. You know, it's one of those also things that, like, even though there's like a lot of people and like you expand the number of cards, it never seems, I mean, I think one time we had a situation with like, you know, 5 or 6 people where everybody picked a different card, so like everybody got a donut. It just doesn't seem to happen. I mean, just because I think people do zero in pretty quickly, and because of the fact that everybody's collected donuts are free and open knowledge. You know, you can't just go after the one you want. You kind of have to look and see what that person might want. And you have to kind of decide, do I think they're going to go after, you know, the glazed donut or the cinnamon twist donut, or, you know, the powdered sugar donut? You can't, you have to, you know, you hedge your bets, if you will. And I like that. I mean, I like games at the reveal. I like games that promote the fact that, like, everybody at the table has to be functionally aware of what everybody else is doing, or else, you know, you're just not going to be able to succeed. And I also like games like this because it promotes that conversation. It promotes that moment of like mock anger, if you will. How dare you take the donut I wanted? That sort of thing. So it's just a very fun game, very fun in its presentation, very fun in its gameplay. And like I said, it was like a situation where everybody who I introduced this game to, whether they were like a family member or like a hardcore gamer, all walks of life, they all had a lot of fun. And it is quick, it is fast, it is easy to teach, and most of all, it's like, it makes you hungry for donuts. So anyway, so there you go. That is Go Nuts for Donuts. If you are looking for a very light kind of family game, I would strongly suggest you check this one out. If you have any questions about it, ask away. I'll answer those to the best of my ability. Thank you very much for taking the time to watch this video. And until next time, I'm the Undead Viking, and I'm telling you to have yourself one heck of an awesome day. Alright, bye-bye.